This is Teresa Weatherspoon, better known as Teaspoon, and you're watching Real Fans, Real Talk.
Live from the can. Vibe the can.
This is Real Fans, Real Talk. Real fans, real talk. We as real as you thought. Real fans.
What's going on? Welcome to another live but sad but happy edition of Real Fans, Real Talk. Man, we got a whole lot to get into. Obviously, y'all know my Ravens. In the words of my good brother Eric, wet the bed. So much going on. But before we get into that, and I got to deal with that tragedy, let me introduce my co-host and my brother, Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in 2 Games. What's going on, man?
What's really good, bro? First and foremost, Happy New Year to you, my brother, as well as all our supporters. Listen, the comment section's already buzzing. We get into the new year and we have a great week 18 for the NFL, probably best case scenario. So I know we got a lot to get into, Trip.
Yeah. Yeah, man, we do. Unfortunately, the kick missed around the world. Tyler Loop misses the field goal that would have gave the Ravens the lead, the win, and the division. Was missed after maybe one of the best fourth quarters Lamar Jackson has ever had. At least the last 5 minutes of that game. Definitely the best last 5 minutes of the game, man. 2 touchdown drives back to back, and you put your team in position even after a penalty brings y'all back, and you still put your team in a position to win. And then unfortunately the kick goes right, and no Ravens in the playoffs.
Yeah. Let's get this out the way right away. First and foremost, Lamar Jackson played like an MVP yesterday. In a must-win game, Lamar Jackson, he was cold for the first half. He got it going in the second half. You look back at that game, and even if you didn't watch the game, even if you just look at the highlights of the score, you can see multiple times where they're down in the second half, and he continues to bring them back in that game.
Yeah,
I thought Lamar did everything he was supposed to do. And I thought the beauty in it was that Lamar actually was winning the game with his arm, right?
Yeah.
The throws, which we've talked about early in the season when he was healthy, the evolution of him as a quarterback now. He's no longer just a guy who runs around and makes a couple of throws. It's actually the opposite. Now he makes a lot of throws and can beat you every now and then with his legs when he decides to. But this game, everybody's going to talk about the kicker, and rightfully so. The kicker misses the kick. It does fall on him. John Harbaugh was going to lose his job after this game if Lamar didn't continue to make the plays he made. Zay Flowers and Lamar Jackson carried this team. The secondary, I know Hamilton goes out, but Trip, three different times in the second half, the Ravens had the lead. And what is one of the things we had talked about all year, Trip, that this team, for some reason, they can't hold on to leads. And that's why I say Harbaugh was going to lose his job anyway. You can't consistently have these type of moments. You're facing a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers, and yet there are receivers running wide open in the secondary for him. You're not getting a pass rush on him. Like, what's going on here? So I know somebody's going to ask about Harbaugh. To me, this is really about, again, the defense blowing it. I know the kicker missed the kick, but he shouldn't even be in that position. Lamar had given you the lead multiple times in the fourth quarter. The kicker shouldn't even be on the field to win the game. You should have been able to win it with your defense. And I think that falls on Harbaugh. Again, that's bad coaching. You can't allow multiple leads to be blown that late in the game.
Yeah. And it just really sucks because when Kyle Hamilton gets hurt and goes out, I thought the game was going to be over right then and there. Obviously, you mentioned Lamar playing up to his MVP level to not only keep them in the game, but to get the lead, then come right back as the defense lets up again, then come right back again and score, then come right back again and put the team in position to win that game. I'm just disappointed in the Ravens defense, and what makes it worse is the Ravens are a team that were really built their legacy off of their defense
And the pass,
You know what I'm saying? They were. And it's just like, come on, guys, you have to step up. I get it. I know Kyle Hamilton, you know what I'm saying, goes down, but you got to do better, man. You guys have to step up. Now, one thing I will say with the loss of Kyle Hamilton, you know, a couple of those big plays they had, those are the plays that if Kyle Hamilton is in, he's stopping those. That one big play he got downfield right before the touchdown run to the tight end Fairmouth. That's a play that Kyle Hamilton is on, and you know what I'm saying, that's gonna be a lot harder to make if he's out there on the field. But guys got to step up. You know, it just is what it is. The defense, you guys wet the bed. I'm mad about, you know, Tyler, you know, missing the field goal, but I'm gonna give him grace. A little bit of grace because, you know, he's a rookie. That's a very high pressure situation. Even though it's only a 44-yarder, it's still that being in that situation where basically the game is on your shoulders as a rookie kicker. I'm gonna give you a little bit of grace because he's actually been very good this season. Obviously, you know, this is the one that mattered the most, but I'll still give him a little bit of grace. But I can't give grace to the defense because all season long, the defense has been giving up lead after lead after lead after lead. So I cannot give you guys any grace. You know, the coaching. Obviously, I've said, you know, 2 weeks ago, I believe even as much love as I got for Harbaugh, he took us to the promised land. You know, as much love as I have for him, I'm even to the point where it's like, all right, it's time for a coaching change. You know what I mean? But to be honest with you, I don't. In this particular game, you know, I mean, guys' bodies were dropping left and right on the defensive side of the football. The offense actually, you know, was pretty good though for the most part. You know, Lamar Jackson, they held their own, but it is still time, and I think we'll be hearing within the next couple of weeks that, you know, Harbaugh and Baltimore have cut ties, or, you know, however they work it out. I think we're gonna wind up hearing that, you know, over the next couple of weeks.
It's got to happen, and I don't pray on anybody's downfall, but yesterday should not be the only reason Harbaugh loses his job. Let me be clear. I'm not saying Harbaugh should lose his job because they lost. I think this is a collective of several years of not being able to win these type of close games.
Yeah.
And one of the things I said to you, Trip, and one of the things I had said to Will, shout out to Will Gordon, was that every year the Ravens find themselves in one of these type of games, bro. Every year. And at some point, the coaching has got to find a way to get over the hump. You know, a couple of years ago, Lamar didn't play his greatest game, but they lost to a Chiefs team that was struggling to get to 20 points, right? Last year, Mark Andrews drops a pass against Buffalo that would have given them the win. But even before then, they didn't play well. And it took Lamar playing well late in the game to give him a chance to win that game. And now this moment that they lose. And at some point, you just need a new voice in the locker room. Let's just call it what it is. Like, you can't keep running it back with the same people and expect different results. You're going to need a new voice. You're going to need somebody who can bring in some fresh perspective into the situation and maximize what Lamar Jackson gives you. Because honestly, when I look at the Ravens, there is no excuse for the position the Ravens keep finding themselves in. Yeah. I know early in the year, Lamar was out, cool. But the 49ers had to play with their backup quarterback for most of the year, and they still found a way to win 11 games, 12 games, right? You look around the league, plenty of teams deal with injuries. They find a way to win. The Harbaugh issue here is that with the talent, he's finding ways to lose, right? Will Gordon highlighted about the Derrick Henry running the ball 3 weeks ago, Trip, when they're beating the Patriots by 10 points, and he stops giving Derrick Henry the ball.
Yeah, I didn't understand that one.
Right? So they've had too many of these instances this year, and I think yesterday, regardless of the outcome, it was a make-or-break game for Harbaugh.
Yeah.
It was going to be a make-or-break game. It was going to be one of the moments where everybody said, all right, listen, if you can't find a way to beat this Steelers team who doesn't have DK Metcalf, who can't run the ball, who's got a 41-year-old quarterback, it's probably your own death sentence. And again, Lamar's heroics and the kicker missing, the focus is on the kicker today. But realistically, think about where we were at before that game started. This was a do-or-die game for Harbaugh. You lost, so you out of there.
Yeah. it's time. That's what Kyrie's question. Should Ravens move on? Yeah, we've been talking about this the past couple of weeks. It's time, and this loss, even though, like I said, we're going to be talking about the kicker, this morning. It's still on Harbaugh because we shouldn't have been in this position to begin with. Like there were several times throughout the season where losses have happened and we've questioned your coaching because of decisions that you either made or didn't make in the moment. And the Ravens ultimately wound up losing games, and they're in a situation where we have to come down to the last game of the season to determine whether or not we can actually get a shot at the playoffs. So yeah, it's time. It's been and listen, much love and respect to Harbaugh, because again, there's a lot of teams that don't have Super Bowl championships during his era with the Ravens. Like, what I'm saying? So I just definitely want to make sure I give him his respect for that. But every so often things change, generations change, eras change, and the coach gotta be changed too. And I just think that it's
it's time. Again, Trip, we I don't know how many more ways we can say it. The Ravens have done everything with Lamar and Harbaugh. They've done everything but win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Lamar's been multiple time MVP. They've had number one defenses. They've been number one seed. They've done everything but win a Super Bowl. And at some point, you got to, like I said, call it what it is. It's time to move on.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Will said John came to LA as special teams coordinator or the offensive staff under Big Bro. Realistically, he'll have many suitors if Baltimore moves on. Yeah, he's definitely going to get a job. It's just that locker room may not be for him anymore.
Right.
And that's all it is. Shout out to Harbaugh, though. He's going to land on his feet, as let me see. Kyrie says, will Aaron Rodgers play another season? Possible. He may. If they ask him to come back, I'm sure he might. He'll consider it. Not that he's like Aaron Rodgers, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm sure if Pittsburgh calls him back, he'll come play for another season.
I think he will. He played solid enough down the stretch, and especially in the important games this year, where it would justify bringing him back at 42 years old. I also think, though, because of where this Pittsburgh team is in terms of their roster construction right now, you don't have many options. Like, what's the replacement to Aaron Rodgers? They don't have the replacement on the roster, and Mike Tomlin obviously ain't trying to go through a rebuild. No. So I do think that it might be one of them things where they say, hey, look, they just come together for one more year and see if we can maybe put a little bit more talent around you and win something. But they don't have a replacement. Mike Tomlin ain't looking to rebuild, and Aaron Rodgers will be okay going back to a situation where it's a veteran-laden team, because they're one of the older teams in the NFL anyway. So it's not like you're asking them to carry a bunch of young guys. It'll be a bunch of veterans hoping to make one more run.
Yeah, and even if they draft a quarterback, I doubt they're gonna be game ready on day one. Like, I just go up in there. So it'd be good to have Aaron Rodgers there. At least it's not gonna be like with Jordan Love waiting on Aaron Rodgers.
I think they had an opportunity last year. Obviously, Shador was the name, but there was plenty of people. They could have drafted Jackson Dart. You know what I'm saying? They could have drafted Tyler Shuck. They could have drafted a young guy and kind of made him the eventual replacement, and they didn't. So I don't think Tomlin. Say that again.
They're gonna have to soon, or they can't.
They are, but I don't get the impression that that's what.
Oh, the priority.
I don't think that's what Tomlin wants right now. I think Tomlin is more focused on get me 53 guys that can try to win now. Mm-hmm. The last quarterback they drafted was Kenny Pickett.
Is on the hot seat every year, I feel like, too. At least these last couple of seasons as coach of Pittsburgh. So he's definitely I don't think he has the luxury to build for the future at this point.
I think, but I also think the reason he doesn't have that luxury is because he kind of, quote unquote, kicked the can down the road too far at this point. He's never done it You know what I'm saying? Like if he had at least tried it and said, hey, look, we're gonna try to go a little younger, then maybe the thinking around the organization is different. But he's never done it. And now you get to a point again, 19 years as the head coach. When are you gonna develop a quarterback? When are you gonna bring a young quarterback in? He hasn't done it. And I think it's just him saying, hey, fuck it. I want to win as many games as I can win right now.
Yeah.
So if they lose in the first round of playoffs, he might not even be that devastated because it'll be another winning season, 10 wins, and look like, hey, look, we patched it together with glue and tape, and we found a way to win the division. And I think he'll be okay with that.
Yeah. Will mentioned that.
Yeah, that's what I said. They could have drafted Sanders. They could have drafted Tyler Shuck. They could have took Jackson Dart. There were plenty of quarterbacks that they could have drafted.
There's a whole bunch of guys they could have.
That's what I'm saying. They could have, and the previous years too. There were plenty of times where they and not to mention not just drafting. Think about some of the veteran quarterbacks who were much younger than Aaron Rodgers who went other places. They didn't sign. They could have went after Sam Darnold. They could, you know what I'm saying. They could have went after other guys that said, hey, look, this is the eventual replacement. I don't think Tomlin's interested in that at all.
Yeah, I agree. Let me go to Squeezy's question. What does this loss mean for Lamar's future? It means he ain't making the playoffs this year. He's not gonna have a run at a Super Bowl, and he's gonna come back next season and continue to be Lamar. And hopefully they do better around him.
I think it's going to be interesting what it means for his future because if Harbaugh is not fired, don't be surprised if you start getting rumblings that Lamar wants out. If Harbaugh is fired, then the question becomes who is the next coach that takes over and how do they align with Lamar Jackson? So I think this loss is big for Lamar's future in Baltimore. Lamar got a lot of football left to play. The question is, will it be in Baltimore?
Well, he's on the contract for the next.
That don't mean nothing, Trip.
Well,
he under contract. He under contract. But I promise you right now, if Harbaugh returns, if the ownership says, "Hey, we're bringing back John for another year," I promise you're going to start to hear the rumblings that Lamar wants out. There was already a piece in the Baltimore Sun last week that talked about the disconnect with Lamar and the front office. There's been rumors that some of the injuries he's dealt with have been misdiagnosed, which have led to him being out longer than most people expected at times. So I already think there's a little bit of distrust between Lamar and the front office already. If you bring Harbaugh back, I think Lamar's camp, his agent, the people close to him are going to start looking around like, all right, what's a better fit for us then? Because obviously you and Harbaugh can't make it work.
Yeah. Well, we're going to see all season. Well, at least for Baltimore's here now.
Starts today. It starts today.
Ron says, starting to think Rodgers Steelers can make a run. Hell no, I ain't starting to think that.
Around the block?
Yeah.
Yeah, run around the block. Yeah, they definitely could run around the block.
They're gonna run right back to Pittsburgh after that Texans defense get a hold of Aaron Rodgers. That's where they're gonna run to.
Yeah, right? They can run around the block. They not. I would be shocked if they beat the Texans.
Yeah.
Texans got one of the best defenses in football. In terms of historical perspective, the Texans, I think they're the first team in the last 30 years where they were not only number one in points allowed, they were number one in yards allowed. We're talking about, again, I'm not going to compare anybody to the 85 Bears or the 2000 Ravens, but we're talking about the best defense this league has probably seen in the last, at least since the Legion of Boom. This is the best defense we've seen since then. So we're talking 12, 13 years.
Now, let me ask you this. Which defense is better, that defense or the Broncos defense? Because that Broncos defense is pretty good.
I think the Texans defense is better. Because I've seen the Broncos this year at times give up yardage and points. Your Giants dropped a 30-piece on them. You know what I'm saying? Daniel Jones had a good game against them. We've seen that Bronco defense. We saw, who was it a couple weeks ago that went into Denver and beat up on them? Oh my God, now I got to look back. But when their winning streak ended, they gave up a lot of points and yardage in that game as well. So you can move the ball against the Broncos. I think what's scary about the Texans defense is their pass rush, because Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter both are guys with double-digit sacks who they can get to the quarterback without even having a blitz.
Yeah.
And they do this little thing, Will Trip pause, where they like to move Will Anderson around almost like he's a linebacker sometimes. So he's lined up over center. He's blitzing off without, his hand on the ground. They do a lot of different things. So I think the Texans defense is scarier than the Bronco defense. In terms of a run, let's keep it a buck. Even if Aaron Rodgers and them somehow find a way to win this game against the Texans, I think that game is the Monday night game too. Yeah, looks like it's the Monday night game. Even if they find a way, I'm not convinced they're making any run, because a lot of what they do is smoke and mirrors. It's a lot of gimmicky type wins that I don't think is sustainable come playoff time.
Yeah. Well, listen. I'm excited. Playoffs is here, so I'm definitely looking forward to this weekend. Ron says, do the Ravens need to make big changes? Well, I mean, yeah, the biggest one is going to be the coaching change. And I also think they need to get a little bit better on their offensive line. And I still think they need a legit number one wide receiver. So, I mean, I'm hoping those are the areas. But then you got the defense is going to need a lot of work this year too. From what I've seen, they need to get, and I can't even say they got to get like younger, because they got young guys, but the young guys are getting hurt too. They just got to get healthy.
Yeah. The O-line got to get better. They're going to have to, I mean, I think Zay Flowers is great, but who's going to be opposite of Zay Flowers is going to be very important this year. And then defensively, they got to figure out the cornerback position. I know they tried to bring in Zaire Alexander. That didn't really work out. So they're going to have to make a move. I think it's specifically at cornerback. They got to get better at cornerback.
Yeah. I agree. Will says he's putting a ticket on Pittsburgh for sure, because the Texans should have no worries with Pittsburgh. But is Stroud going to beat Rodgers with the NFL on the bullish they be on? Well, he got to beat their defense, not Aaron Rodgers. But I get what you're saying, though, Will. But no, I mean, honestly, I don't think this game is going to be clear. I think we're going to see a clear difference between the Texans and the Steelers. If and up until Kyle Hamilton got hurt, it was, I mean, that offense wasn't really moving the football. And that's what the Ravens defense playing the way they've been playing. But you're talking about now the best defense in football, that's going to be a huge difference. And guys that can get to the quarterback, because the Ravens this year, they didn't really have guys that could just get to the quarterback, or at least that were doing that. But with the Texans, them boys is coming. And Aaron Rodgers' hand is already a little messed up. You take the wrong hit early, it's going to be a long night for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
This is going to be a super tough game for them, because Pittsburgh just doesn't have the receivers, I think, that can get open against this Texans defense. I know they get DK Metcalf back. But again, like I said, this Texas defense is really, really good. Mm-hmm. They're well coached. Because D'Amico Ryans is one of the better head coaches in football. And this isn't some young, inexperienced team. This is their third straight year making the playoffs with C.J. Stroud. So I don't think they're going to be overwhelmed by the moment, whether it's a Monday night game. It don't matter. I think they're going to go in there super focused. They're one of the hottest teams in the second half of football. You look at how they played to get into the playoffs. If they get a lead early, it'll be interesting to see how Pittsburgh's going to try to hang around, because Pittsburgh's not going to be able to run the ball on them.
Yeah.
And so if they get a lead early and now it's forced Aaron Rodgers to start throwing the ball 35, 40 times in this game, that's where I think this could get ugly for Pittsburgh, because then their pass rush is going to feast on him. So that's going to be the interesting thing. Can Pittsburgh keep it close early enough so that they at least keep their balance of being able to run and pass? If they fall behind 10 points, 13 points, and they got to keep passing the ball, I think then it gets ugly.
Yeah. Shout out to Pooh. She got a question about Playmaker. She says, I'm not a football girl, but Michael Irvin, what is your thoughts on how he was acting at one of the college games? He looks like he smelled like licking blunts. Do he do cocaine? Well, first of all, cocaine is a hell of a drug. I'm not gonna put that on nobody. There have been, conversations about, the Dallas Cowboys being referred to as the Cocaine Cowboys, but I'm gonna still say allegedly because I can't put my main man playmaker out there like that. I ain't gonna do that. So I don't know. I what I can say is I've never seen him do it. Okay, that's what I can say. I've never seen him do it, so I'm not gonna put that on him. I'll just say allegedly.
Listen,
but go ahead.
No. I don't remember how it started, but the label of like Uncle Shay Shay and Shannon Sharp really is Uncle Mike. Michael Irvin is really our uncle. Mm-hmm. All right, Mike is more than welcome to come on the show anytime he want, and if he want to bring some of his party favors with him on the show, so be it. I ain't mad at it.
We're not gonna do it, but that don't
right. We may not partake, but we're not judging either. With that being said, Pooh, let's put it in context. Yes, he was fired up on the sideline, but that is his alma mater. That's his University of Miami. And I also think some of it is an act because he knows the cameras are watching at this point. Because now he does the routine when they win, but he takes off the belt and starts beating the wall or beating the gate. You know what I'm saying? And he's been doing that for a couple of games now, so he knows it's all part of the act. Does he smell like liquor and blunts? I don't know, but we're not going to judge him off that, Pooh. All right.
I mean, he might have a drink or two.
Right. If Uncle Mike, if that's what he'd like to do, then that's what he'd like to do. I'm sure Uncle Mike is a great time around the family. You know what I'm saying? He probably has some great words of wisdom after that third or fourth drink.
Anytime.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm sure after that third or fourth drink, he got some great words of wisdom for you.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? He probably even like the slap box after he get a little drunk. You know what I'm saying? And it's cool. It's Uncle Mike.
Exactly, man. We're gonna let Uncle Mike be, man. Uncle Mike is on the protected list.
Right.
Okay? Oh man, let me see. We got any more NFL questions? Oh, yep, we got to take this one here. Eric, I know you'll be happy about this one. I'm happy about this. How does Stefanski firing impact Shador? I think he'll actually, depending on who they bring in, but I'm sure that whoever they bring in is gonna, at least I would hope they would be smarter than the average bear and understand what you got. And I don't think they're gonna go back to Dylan Gabriel. I think that's over. I think we got that out the way. I think it frees up his legacy to be whatever he wants it to be. That's what I think. The impact of Shador's firing frees up Shador's legacy to be whatever he wants to be, and I think he's going to continue to get better. Obviously the Browns, need some help on the offensive end, but they do have a pretty good, young running back. They have a pretty good young tight end. They are going to need some weapons though at wide receiver to help Shador out. But yeah, I think the book just opened up completely on Shador.
It impacts Shador, like you said, based off who comes in. And this is going to be an interesting offseason for the Cleveland Browns, not just for Shador, but for the Browns. If you look at the Browns draft last year, they actually did pretty well. A lot of rookies got a lot of snaps this year, not just Shador. Obviously, you got a rookie running back in Judkins. You got a rookie tight end in Fanning. You got a rookie middle linebacker, rookie defensive tackle. So a lot of good young players got snaps this year. And the Browns feel like they have the early pieces of building a potential contender later on down the line. Is Shador the final piece at quarterback? That becomes a question, and that's really going to be tied to who the coach that comes in. Now, I will say this. Stefanski, for somebody who's supposed to be an offensive mastermind, I never thought he had Shador's back. I've always said that. I don't think that he really has Shador's best interest at heart. So that part is out of the way. But there's no guarantee that the next guy who comes in is going to have Shador's best interest at heart, because keep in mind, the next guy who comes in wasn't a part of drafting Shador. Mm-hmm. So the next guy who comes in may say, hey, look, it's cool. I like Shador, but he's going to have to really earn it because he wasn't my guy. He was already here when I got here. And I didn't like the way Shador played the last couple of weeks. I'm going to be honest. I know they won, but if you look at the numbers, you look at the amount of sacks he took, and yesterday's game Trip, he threw at least 3 passes that I watched that should have been picked off. And I don't mean like, oh, the defense play made a great play. No, like Shador threw into bad coverages at least 3 times yesterday. He's got to play better. He's got to slow some things down. Maybe he's pressing because he's trying to prove he belongs. But the next guy who comes in, there is no guarantee that they're going to have Shador's back. I really think Shador this offseason is going to have to really buckle down and come in with the mindset of, I'm going to prove to you that I am the number 1 quarterback, but I'm going to play good football while doing it.
That's the best part though about it for him, because he can write the next chapter of his career. He's going to have that.
He will get a fresh start with a full off season of a coaching staff that at least knows that he's part of the plan. Now, whether he has their full support, only time will tell. But at least he comes in knowing he's part of the plan,
and he can earn that. And I think the good thing is, whatever coach comes in, obviously, unless the Browns would trade for a quarterback or draft another quarterback, if we're gonna go off of what's in the locker room. You've seen both quarterbacks play this season, and you know what? Yeah, you can put them in and let them earn the spot. Whoever goes out there and gets it, will get it. And I think we will see that. So, and then it will be up to Shador to just show and prove. That's all. Let me throw Will's comment up here because this was hilarious. Does Irv do coke? Does a dog bark? Does the sun rise and set? It's troubling.
Yes, to all those things. But Will, to be fair, like we said, allegedly, we never been there with Michael Irvin. We just heard the stories from other people,
Exactly. So
the other things we know are all true. The other things, without a doubt, we know are true.
Shout out to Ron Charles. He says, did Raheem Morris deserve to be fired?
Absolutely.
Y'all know I hate for a black coach to lose his job, but we have to call a spade a spade. It was time. They have not done much of anything. And I get it. You bring over Kirk Cousins, which I don't know if that was after the last real image of Kirk Cousins in Minnesota is him losing. For me, it's him losing to the Giants in the first round of the playoffs. And then, you go to Atlanta, and the guy that you bring over who's supposed to be your quarterback for the next couple of years, just plays horrible to the point where he's benched. You put your young rookie in that you drafted who shows signs, but he didn't develop like Drake May developed. You know what I mean? So, coming into his second season, he ain't even improved. Shout out to my guy down in Carolina. You know what I'm saying? He didn't even level up like that one. You know what I mean? So, that's going to make it tough. And then ultimately just, losing in this league is going to get you fired. Especially, when we talk about guys like Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh, guys like that going to get grace because they win a lot. They have championships under their belt. So guys like that will get grace. When you ain't got that to back you up, and the team has not really won since you've been the coach, you don't expect to be there that long.
Raheem Morris did deserve to be fired. Like you said, in terms of wins and losses, this is his second time as a head coach, Trip. If you look through the history books, I think he's in the bottom 10 all times in terms of winning percentage. So the resume isn't great. When you look at the talent on the team, the Falcons have a very talented roster. They had the best defense in terms of sacks this year. They got an all-pro running back. They got a Pro Bowl receiver in Drake London. They got a Pro Bowl caliber tight end in Kyle Pitts. But the mistake they made, like you said, was they brought in Kirk Cousins last year and then drafted Michael Penix. And so when you look at the team, the success, obviously, of most teams relies on how good your quarterback is, no matter how much talent they have. Mm-hmm. If the coaching isn't great, if the quarterback play isn't great, you're going to find yourself in the situation they're in. There was no reason that with the amount of talent they had on their roster that they couldn't win that division. You're telling me Bryce Young and the Panthers got more talent? They ain't got more talent than the Falcons. But Raheem Morris didn't do his job. Yeah. So he deserved to be fired. I don't think he'll be on the quote-unquote streets for long because he is a really good defensive coordinator. He was the defensive coordinator with the Rams when they won the Super Bowl. So I wouldn't be surprised. Currently, the Rams defensive coordinator, Shula, is one of the hot names and coaches out there. So if he leaves the Rams, I wouldn't be surprised if Raheem goes back to LA and just takes back the job he once held with Sean McVay. But in terms of a head coach, I think that time is done, bro. He's had 2 opportunities, and he has not done well in either one of those situations.
I'd love for him to come and be the Ravens defensive coordinator and get them back on track.
That's what I'm saying. He will get a lot of calls because some guys are just better suited for that. We know that Jim Schwartz in Cleveland was a head coach at one time, but he's better as a defensive coordinator. What's our guy, Steve Spagnuolo with the Chiefs, right? He had a chance as a head coach, but he's really more suited to be a defensive coordinator. So I think that's where it's going to ultimately end up happening for Raheem. He'll be a defensive coordinator somewhere next year.
Better defensive coordinator than head coach.
Right.
So there's a couple of guys out there.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Hold on. Hoop Central says, are the Broncos going to the Super Bowl? Hell no. Come on, you got to stop. This ain't not a real question. This ain't a real question. I'm sorry. Nah, man, they ain't going to no Super Bowl. I'm sorry. Listen, congratulations to the Denver Broncos. You guys played a hell of a season. But I'm gonna be honest with you, Eric. I think this might be one of them situations where the team in first place goes home in the divisional round of the playoffs. That's just how I feel about it. I think it'll
be interesting to see who the Broncos get in their first game. Will Gordon and I talked about it, because if the Chargers can win, the Chargers would be going there. The Chargers beat the Broncos this year, and obviously that's a divisional rival. But I don't think the Broncos are going to the Super Bowl. I'm just not sold on Bo Nix being able to win multiple games to get to a Super Bowl. Can he win one playoff game, two playoff games? Possibly, yeah. But you're telling me in matchups against Justin Herbert that I'm going to be more confident in Bo Nix? Absolutely not. I'm not going to be confident if the Broncos are going against the Bills. I'm not going to be confident. I'm not going to really be confident in some of these situations just because I don't think Bo Nix is good enough to consistently play 4 quarters of good football and beat you. So I don't think they're going to the Super Bowl.
There you have it. Let's see. Do we have any more football comments up here? Let me see. I think that's the end of the football questions. All right. So you know what? Since we're gonna transition over to basketball. I think before we do that, this is the perfect time for a quick segue that I needed to get out there and get out my system. So I'm just gonna play something for you, Eric, and we're gonna take it from there. Play this little song right here. The champ is here. I just shit right here. Hold on, we turn it up for y'all. The evil genius. The champ is here. The champ is here. Oh man, listen, I just want to.
You ain't got to send the trophy nowhere this year.
I ain't got to send the trophy nowhere this year, and I feel like Snoop Dogg when he got his his square in Hollywood, and he went up there and he said, you know what, I want to thank myself because I worked hard to get this trophy this year, and this is my 2020-2021 trophy. I got to get my new trophy for this year. It's obviously the season just ended yesterday. But so the trophy gonna look similar to this though. This is the Real Fans Real Talk official fantasy football championship trophy right here. Y'all see that it says fantasy football champion right there. It got your boy Trip Yung on it. My next one gonna have it. So I'm gonna have 2 of these. I'm gonna have 2 of these in the crib now.
You're a 2-time champ now.
They're gonna start calling me Trip 2 times now because I done won that league twice. Big shout out to everybody in the fantasy football league. Salute to my guy Charles, who I beat in the finals. I ain't gonna hold you though, Eric. I was nervous because guys started dropping like flies and the games was not going my way until Sunday. But I gotta shout out my guy Stevenson out in New England, had a very big game.
Andre, yep.
And who was the other person that had another big game? Because Dak didn't do nothing for me this week. But yeah, big shout out to everybody in the league. Obviously, Eric's in the league with us. Sean Fontaine, our main man Cliff, who runs the boards for Real Fans Real Talk. Sierra, one of our former co-hosts. Jill, obviously Will is in the fantasy league. Shout out to Real Lil as well. Shout out to my cousin Jonathan. I think that's as one other person. I'm missing the name, but shout out to everybody that was in the league this year. Appreciate you guys. Unfortunately, since I'm already on the show, I get to go back on again and talk fantasy football a little later on in the year. Usually we'll have the whoever wins come on, but since I'm the winner, it's all good. But yeah, man, appreciate all of you guys for joining the league, and we're gonna be right back at it next year as well, doing the damn thing. So now we can switch over and take these basketball questions. I need to get that out my system, and just sometimes you get a win like that, you got to come up, show the people I know they was asking and whatnot, and the fans and stuff. So I said, you know what, I do it. I talk to them, but that's how it is, Eric. I'm sorry. I'm gonna go ahead and take this guy. Let me go. Shout out to you, Imani. She says, "What's y'all thoughts on the unrivaled league? I love the WNBA." But I just can't get into that as of yet. It's good they don't go overseas if they want to. I love it. I think it's a nice push to the WNBA to keep them on their toes, and continue to improve. And again, not that they haven't been, because these past couple of years the WNBA has stepped up 1,000%. I told you guys the beginning of the season, I called our guy over at the Barclays Center. I couldn't even get tickets to the Liberty game because they were sold out so fast. So they have been doing their thing, but I think Unrivaled will keep them on their toes. It's a player led league, which I love. So yeah, I think it's great. I think it's good for women's basketball. It's just gonna help push everything else, because for the most part, those ladies are gonna be in the WNBA once the season starts anyway. So it's just extra exposure. For them, extra paychecks, which I love. I want everybody to get paid. So there's that. But yeah, I think it's good.
I think it's good for the women, like Lonnie said, they don't have to worry about going overseas. Only time will tell how successful it can be, because the most important thing is going to be viewership. Can they get enough people to pay attention to the league long term, for it to really compete with what the WNBA got going on? But I think for the ladies, listen, any opportunity to be successful in your craft, I think is a good opportunity. So shout out to the ladies on that.
Yes, sir. Let me go to my main man Dion Hoops page. He says the first meeting tonight between the Knicks and the Pistons, the teams many believe will battle to get to the finals. Knicks didn't lose a game in Detroit in that series. Shout out to both of those teams. Detroit has gotten better after they making the playoffs with this younger regime. Cade has been phenomenal. And I'm sure the fans would love to see the Knicks and Detroit go at it again in the playoffs this year. If things were to line up the same as they did last year and they run into each other, because it was an exciting series. Obviously we know what happened. The Knicks won it, but it was definitely an exciting series. I think anytime they play each other, it's going to be good. It's going to be competitive because of that playoff series. I think it's going to make both teams, they're going to come with a little extra edge whenever they play each other, moving forward.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth. I got the game on my phone. It's a 3-point game right now, early in the second quarter, and Cade and Jalen Brunson already both have 12 points, so they coming out firing. I expect a good game tonight, but I mean, if they face off in the playoffs, like I said before, I think really the biggest difference last year between the Knicks and the Pistons in that series was coaching. The Knicks were just a better coached team. That has been my biggest issue with Coach Bickerstaff, and I said that with Detroit when other people have asked, can Detroit be serious this year? Is Coach Bickerstaff serious? Is he going to make the adjustments necessary to win a playoff series? But I think Detroit is a great young team. I think the Knicks, they've been struggling the last week and a half, have had a great season as well. And right now it looks like they're on a collision course to meet each other at some point in the playoffs.
Which, like I said, that would make for some really good basketball. So I'm actually excited about that. Knicks need this game though tonight. Gonna put them closer to taking the number one spot. So I'm excited to see that. Let me go to Hoop Central's comment next. He says Booker hits the game-winning shot to beat the Thunder last night, and the Suns have won 6 of their last 7 games. Did you all see this at the start of the season? Did we see the Suns beating OKC in a regular season game?
Nobody. But the Suns have played well, but nobody expected them to have a good season. Like, come on. When we did the Western Conference rankings before the season, nobody in their right mind was even putting Phoenix as a top 8 team.
I don't know about to say. I don't even think they were a top 10 team.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Nobody saw this. Anybody who said, the only people that can say they felt this way about this team are probably people in Phoenix, Arizona. That's it.
Those are Phoenix stands. So of course,
right. Anybody outside of Phoenix, there was nobody who thought they were going to be able to hang around. And again, let's be fair. We're still in the first half of the season, right? Second half of the season, they could struggle, they could collapse, whatever might happen. But nobody saw this happening. And there's nobody who could tell me differently. You would have to pull up the tape and show me where you predicted the Suns were going to be competitive this year.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about that. Seeing that I don't think that's the case. And again, do I think they'll make the playoffs? I don't even know if they'll make the playoffs, if they'll stay in there. So I don't expect much from this Phoenix Suns team. Obviously, Devin Booker is who he is. But I mean, they didn't make it last year with Kevin Durant. I don't now it's just like, I just don't think that they're ready for prime time just yet. I think it's going to be a little while before Phoenix gets back. They just need a lot more than what they have, and a regular season game that OKC probably didn't even get up for, because that happens a lot too. You kind of look past certain teams that you ain't gonna see come playoff time. So I think it's just a blip in the matrix. That's all. Let me ask you this, Eric, because I was looking at the standings. Right now, Milwaukee is not even in the play-in. Do you think we see a Giannis trade to whoever before the trade deadline or by the trade deadline?
I think their hand is going to be forced in a trade. I don't know if it's going to happen by the deadline because it's going to be really tough based on salaries that got to be moved around. But as I've said before, Milwaukee doesn't own their own first-round pick this year. So there is no incentive for them to tank. If they're going to trade Giannis, it's got to be for a bunch of picks, and some of those picks got to be in this year's draft for it to make sense for them. So if I had to put a number on it, I would say it's probably a 70% chance he gets traded by the deadline. I'm not going to say full 100% because, again, his salary and the teams that are trying to get him are all on the cusp of being title contenders. To fit his salary into your cap space or keep you out of that second apron, which every team is trying to avoid, is damn near impossible for a lot of teams.
So I think it's like 50 mil, something like that. 50.
It's just under 50 mil.
Okay.
Because him and Cat pretty much have the same number.
Yes.
But again, for them is they want to unload Giannis, but they want to be able to get a bunch of draft picks back because again, they're not a playoff team. Yeah. And so if they just trade for a couple young guys and it makes them somewhat competitive, it does nothing for them. They want the picks. If they're going to be bad, they want the picks.
Yeah. Let me go to Pooh's comment. Pooh says the Thunder 6-5 in their last 11 games. People got to realize teams they play their hardest against the champs, so they wasn't going 81. Well, I don't think nobody thought 81-1. That was just crazy. I was thinking they've been around 70, 78 in that area, but one loss on the season was been crazy.
But this kind of goes to, remember we had this conversation right before the NBA Cup, and that's why I said then I thought it was tough to think, they're just going to run off. They're just going to keep running off a bunch of wins. Human nature is teams get bored. Trip, they get bored. Yeah, like this is a team that won a championship last year. They was having their way early in the season, and you get to that part in the season where it's like, all right, we gotta get excited about a game against Atlanta. We gotta get excited. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's just human nature, though.
Plus, 3 out of those 5 losses came to the Spurs.
Of course, but I'm just saying in general, the part of it, like you start to get bored with the season.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't be surprised if they struggle for the rest of this month, and then maybe next month they get back in gear. Yeah, like after All-Star break, and like, all right, we're closer to the second half of the season. Let's get to it. But yeah, that's why it's tough to get to 72, 73 wins. That's why it's tough to repeat as champion. That's going to be their biggest challenge. Can they stay motivated, especially into the second half of the season? Like Pooh said, you're going to get everybody's best shot every night as the champ, and you got to match that energy.
Yep. Shout out to DeLorean. He says both Duke rookies are balling their ass off. Cooper and the one with the with the Hornets. I don't want to mess his name up, so I'm not even gonna say it. It's like
Canoe, right?
Yeah, I didn't want to mess his name up. But yeah, man, Blue Devils, all about the Blue Devils. I mean, that boy could shoot. Knipple, yeah, he could shoot the lights out too. That boy is a shooter. See what we're seeing right now is what we were supposed to see when Zion, RJ, and Cam went into the league from Duke. This is what we were supposed to be seeing when they came out, when that class came out. But we're seeing it now. Both of these guys are super talented. Again, Knuppel can shoot the lights out. He's playing really well. And Cooper Flag is just on a whole nother level, though. You know, I like the fact that he's not straying away on the defensive side of the basketball, and he can do damn near everything on the offensive side, and he will throw it on you if you don't double team and you let him get a lane to the basket. I done seen him throw it on so many people this season. Like, I'm just waiting for when somebody going, do one of these and give him the welcome to the league rookie moment, and it's just like, nah, he ain't having that. He doing his thing. He's showing why he was the number 1 draft pick. He's showing you what all of the talk was about during the Olympics when everybody's like, yo, this 17-year-old kid is really running with these seasoned veteran NBA players. He's showing you all of that right now. And again, and the reason I love it so much is because, early on when Jason Kidd was trying to force him to play that point guard role, and he was, I don't want to say struggling. I'll say he was getting acclimated to running the offense. And then now, now that he kind of been like just let free. That boy good. That's it. That boy good.
Both rookies have been amazing. Knipple, Trip, I don't know if you're aware of this. He was the fastest to 100 made threes. He actually did it in 25 less games than Steph, which is crazy.
Well, I mean, Steph, damn, that's crazy because he did get hurt his rookie year too, though, didn't he?
Bro, 25 less games.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
Like, I mean, granted, we would have to pull up and see like how much time Steph missed early on, but again, that's an amazing stat that Knipple has come in and has been that type of shooter, because young guys sometimes struggle with it. We saw that last year with what's the kid from Houston, Reed Shepherd.
Yeah,
last year he came in, he was supposed to be the shooter. He struggled last year. This year Reed is playing well. But as a rookie, you're adjusting to the physicality and the speed of the game, and sometimes you're never comfortable. Knipple come in immediately and has been comfortable shooting the basketball and being an offensive playmaker over there. So I think they both had some great years. And this ultimately is going to be a great rookie class. We've talked about Derek Queen before. The kid Trey Johnson
has been
Harper. You got Trey Johnson in DC who's been playing well. Will hit me up the other day talking about him. And Ace Bailey hasn't even really played that great yet. Ace has been okay, but the other guys, like I said, Dylan, Khan, Cooper Flag, Derek Queen, there's a lot of young guys, man, that's really playing some great basketball.
Yeah. All right, let me go to let me throw this comment up here. Hoop Central says, I have a great idea. How about trying to get Tina Hutchinson and Cheryl Cook on together? Man, that would be epic. Just throwing it out there. Two great ballers. I mean, that's something that we could. I'm sure we could work that out. I'll definitely give them a call and tell them that this was a special request from the supporters. I can definitely do that. So I'll work on putting that in motion. Um, and having them come on. I guess because that should be a good time because we can actually kind of talk to them about the unrivaled league and what's going on with that, and a couple other things. So I'll work on that Hoop Central, see if we can facilitate that. Not this month, next month, but I'll definitely speak to the ladies in regards to that. Kyrie says Jaylen Brown of Boston, man, he is climbing in that MVP race. He got Boston in third with all new pieces.
Cool.
Yeah, I expected. I thought Boston would still be a playoff team. Because I think the rest of that team is still good, even with Tatum not being there. Even with them not having the bigs they had last year in Porzingis and Al Horford, but I do believe that Jaylen Brown, along with White, who's a very very good guard. I think they I think those two guys could lead a team to the playoffs. Not saying they're gonna go on some deep run, not saying I feel like they can win the championship, but I think that they're good enough to make it to the playoffs. And I'm not even saying with the high seed. So this is actually impressive that they're in the third seed right now without Tatum, without Porzingis, without Al Horford. Eric, and I want to get your take on this because we've had the discussion about who was the better of the duo
I
and
was about to say, yep.
Brown or Jason Tatum. I'm gonna be honest with you. Jaylen Brown might be kind of putting the stamp on him being the best player because now you have a situation where when they're both on the court, this guy is the Eastern Conference MVP. He's the Finals MVP. Jason Tatum gets hurt, and not only is he have them in contention, they're in the third seed. That's pretty damn good.
Well, I think Jalen has had a great season, and I was going to say that, like you said, there's always been this debate about who was the better player. So that's why, to me, I'm not too shocked that they've had some success this year because, again, we're talking about a guy who was the Eastern Conference MVP and a Finals MVP, right? Now, Tatum obviously is a big part of that team, but you're still there with an all-star, with the guy that most people feel is one of the top 15 guys in the league. So you still expected to have some sort of success without Jason Tatum. The question will be, again, can they sustain it? Because I think too often, we've seen it plenty of times, but too often we kind of think that, because the team is playing well in a particular part of the season, that they're going to be able to sustain that.
Yeah.
Things will get tougher for Boston as the season goes on because we know how it goes in a regular season trip. There's some nights where you play a team and they might not have all their guys that night. You play a team and you might catch them in the third night of four nights where they had to play a game. So is it fluky what Boston's doing? I'm not going to say it's fluky, but again, let's circle back to this in February, in late February, early March, and if they're still in the third spot. Because last year at this time, Memphis was the number 2 seed in the West. And then as everybody else in the West started getting healthy and everybody else started getting prepared for the playoff run, Memphis completely fell out of the playoff picture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
now I will say this Memphis and Boston is 2 different teams.
I'm not saying they're the same team, but what I'm saying is when the talent starts to now not be able to match up anymore, right now, then sometimes you start to fall back because there are teams in the East, like I said, they're going to tighten the screws. Like, I don't think Cleveland's going to struggle all year. Cleveland got too much talent. They're going to pick it up at some point. You know what I'm saying? So it'll be interesting to see, but I think Jaylen Brown has had a great year. If we want to say he's climbing in the MVP race, cool.
Well, he's having a great year, though, 36-5, and he's up 8 points.
He's having a great year. He's having a great year. But let me ask you a question. Would you put him in the MVP over Joker? Stop. You wouldn't. Come on.
Well, Joker's gonna miss him about another month, so he gonna be up out of
Right.
there.
I'm talking about today, Trip.
Would I put him over
Today.
Luka? No. Would I put him over Shea? No.
Right. So at the best, we're talking about Jaylen Brown being in the Jaylen Brown's going to be in the part of the MVP conversation that we've talked about for weeks now. He's going to be in that same group with Jalen Brunson. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, all right, you're good. You deserve some credit. Same thing with Cade Cunningham. But the big three of the MVP conversation doesn't change. It's Joker, it's Shea, it's Luka right now, and then everybody else is after that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. See, the thing, see where Boston and which is different from, let's say, like a team like Minnesota and what they were able to do last year is that even without Tatum, Boston still has two all-star caliber players. Jaylen Brown, all NBA, Derek White, all defense. So if those two guys can continue to level up, and Derek White is actually having a really good season himself, I think they will be able to sustain and make it to the playoffs. Now, I don't know about no deep runs for them either, because obviously at that point, when you're down to the best of the best, it's going to be difficult for them to compete, I believe, with a team like the Cavs, like the Knicks. I think it's just going to be tough because they're going to be at full strength. If everybody's healthy, those teams will be at full strength. I think it'll just be tough for them to get past them. But I do believe they can sustain this and make the playoffs.
They'll make the playoffs. I think they will. I don't think they're going to be the 3 seed though when it's all said and done.
Oh, no, I don't. Yeah, I don't know about that. I thought they would probably be around 6-7 in the Eastern Conference because other guys are injured as well, right? Because you don't have Halliburton in Indiana. Obviously, Dame ain't even in Milwaukee anymore. You know what I mean? So I still felt like they could contend and be in the mix. But once it gets close to the playoffs, it's going to get crazy. So
yeah, Boston will be in the playoffs. Like I said, there's still a good enough talent there, and there's a good enough head coach. They'll be in the playoffs, but are they going to be the 3 seed? I don't think. Again, let's give it about a month and a half. Let's talk in the beginning of March and see where they're at.
Yeah. DeLorean says Jonathan Kuminga hasn't played since December 18th. I understand he don't like Kuminga, but sometimes I think Kerr is full of it too. I think Kerr lies at the press conferences. Just be real. I don't know about that. And we've spoken about the whole Kuminga situation before. I think somebody asked a similar question about in comparison to him to was Pozniacki, the white kid.
Podzinski, yep.
Podzinski. And I think one of the things that we were mentioning is that the reason that we'll see him on the floor and maybe not a Kuminga is because he's only giving you one dimension. And if all I could do is score on them nights where I don't have it going, what else can I contribute? And I think that's the situation that Kuminga is dealing with right now. So I think for the most part, I've known Steve Kerr to be pretty genuine. I don't think he would go up there and lie, but I just really think that's what it is that Kuminga is one-dimensional, and when you're winning, being one-dimensional doesn't stand out. But when the team is struggling and you one-dimensional and all you can do is score, and then you got, let's say, back-to-back games where you going 3 for 12, or you know what I mean, you 2 for 11, then it's like, all right, well, you're not rebounding. You know what I'm saying? If you was getting us at least maybe 5 rebounds a game, we might put you in. You're not the best defensive player. You're not a floor general, so you're not running. You can't facilitate the offense for us. You're not, an assist guy. So at that point, then it's just like, all right, well, you kind of put yourself out of the rotation.
Yeah. We said it a bunch of times, and I know what's going to end up happening because I've talked so much about Kuminga. Shout out to Kyrie because he put it there. They're gonna start saying I'm a Kuminga hater soon too, Trip. But Kuminga can't shoot. He can't shoot. And to Trip's point, the last time Kuminga played, Trip, Kuminga went 1 for 10 in that last game that he played, and so he's not giving enough of the other areas to be important enough to play. And I don't know. Again, I don't know the dynamic that takes place in that locker room. Only they do. And at some point, there will be a reporter who will put the story out there about whatever's going on in that locker room. But from what I see, is that Kuminga is truly one of those streaky young players that when he got it going, the effort is great. He's running up and down the court. He's hustling. He's doing different things. But when he's not scoring, you can see it in his body language. And you can go back and look at some of the tapes of the games. When he's not scoring, he doesn't give the same effort on defense. He isn't as willing as a defender to get involved. So I think there's that dynamic where Kerr is looking at it from the standpoint of like, listen, your effort has been inconsistent. So I'm not just going to keep rewarding you and guaranteeing you 25, 30 minutes a night. You got to keep earning that. Yeah. And maybe Kuminga does need to change the scenery. But I also think that we're giving Kuminga way too much credit for a young guy who hasn't proven much in the league. We keep talking about Kuminga and Kerr. What has Kuminga proven? What has he done to justify to say, hey, he deserves to get 25, 30 minutes a night? Are we just saying that just because he's young and he should just be playing? Like that's not the way it works. He's not giving enough effort. And like I say, he's been too inconsistent. When he's good, yeah, he gives the effort. When he's not shooting good, he doesn't give the effort. And you could just look back at his stat lines. A lot of games, he's shooting 30% from the field, not even from three. He's shooting 30% from the field. He's not giving you enough on the court. So I can't blame Steve Kerr for not trusting him in these moments. The Warriors are trying to do everything in their power to make the playoffs. They don't have time to hold somebody's hand and coddle his ego to hope that he gets better. He got to show it.
Yeah, exactly. Let me see. Hold on 1 second. Let me go back. Okay, here we go. And log. And what was I here? About that. Oh, what's put some money up and I'll log in. About that. All right. Kyrie says the 76ers are playing better. And Embiid looks good, man. Don't sleep on them. PG been playing too.
I'm a sleep on him though.
Yeah, I don't. It's not, I'm sorry. I can't.
It's crazy. Shout out to Kyrie. Yeah, it's crazy to say Embiid looks good, man. No, he doesn't. He's good for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm about to say he had a good game, but do I expect him to be on the court in 2 months? No. So that's the problem with Philly. Like, shout out to Maxey. I think the guard play has been great for Philly. But ultimately, I just think that there's too many injury-prone guys on this team that I don't feel like are going to be there when it counts. And ultimately, that's going to be their demise.
Listen, Embiid, like I talked about, his last 5 games, he's been over 30 minutes. I guarantee injury's coming, Trip. I know injury's coming.
That's what I'm saying.
Bookmark it. There's no way Embiid is going to keep up this. I mean, in terms of productivity, we know Embiid can hoop. Nobody could debate how talented he is. What we're talking about is, can he stay healthy enough to be on the court for games and weeks at a time? And it ain't going to happen. It's a reason why they had him coming off the bench and they were trying to watch his minutes and they were trying to do different things to keep him as healthy as possible. I'm telling you right now, by the time we record next week, don't be surprised if Embiid is back on the injured list.
Hey, I wouldn't doubt it. Will says, any Super Bowl predictions now that the stage is set? I'm gonna say, I don't know, I might be out on the limb with this one, but I'm gonna say that New England comes out of the AFC, and I am going to, I don't know, for some reason I feel like I'm going with the Rams in the NFC. That's just where I'm at with it right now. I don't trust the Seahawks. I'm just breaking down the NFC right now. I don't trust the Seahawks. I don't trust the Eagles. I don't trust the 49ers. I don't trust the Bears. Definitely don't trust them. I don't trust the Packers. And I may have trusted them more if they didn't lose Micah Parsons and Watson. I may have trusted them a little bit more, but because of that, I don't. And then as far in the AFC, the only two teams that I would really say I trust would be Buffalo and New England. I definitely don't trust Pittsburgh. I don't trust Denver. I already spoke about them earlier. I don't trust the Chargers. I think the injury bug is going to ultimately be their downfall. And the Texans, I got a little bit more faith in them than I do everybody else, but ultimately, I think that the AFC is going to come down to New England and Buffalo, and I just feel like, Buffalo may be, if the most complete team in the AFC.
So you said New England and the Rams, right?
Yeah.
I got something similar. I said a million times, styles make fights. Obviously, who you match up with is going to play a big factor. NFC, I like the Rams. I think the Rams are the most complete team. And I think their path, though it would have been nice if they were the division winner, their path isn't going to be as tough as people think, like you said, because of where they line up. They start off with the Panthers. They're already a 10.5-point favorite in that first playoff matchup. I know they lost to the Panthers in the regular season. I don't think the Panthers can do it again in the playoffs. So I like the Rams to come out of the NFC. AFC, I do like New England, but I'm going with the most established quarterback in the AFC right now, the best quarterback in the AFC right now, and that is Josh Allen. I think it's his time. It just lines up too perfectly for him at this point, Trip. They get pretty favorable matchup right out the gate that I expect them to win. But I think ultimately, as they progress through the playoffs, they've got the best quarterback in the AFC. They've got the most experienced roster in terms of, again, the playoff battles they've been in the last couple of years. And I just think that now is the time for Josh Allen, the reigning league MVP. So I'm going to go Buffalo and Rams in the Super Bowl.
So you if Josh Allen has to go into New England and the Patriots, you comfortable with him in that situation?
Absolutely, because we talked about it the last time they went to New England when they was down 21-0, and then Josh Allen turned into Superman. So I think that's going to be activated all playoffs. I think Josh Allen understands the moment right now. Again, the big names are out. There is no Mahomes, there is no Lamar, there is no Burrow in a way. It's Josh Allen's show. And so their defense could be a little better, don't get me wrong. But I also think that a lot of these teams they're going to face, they're going to be able to put up enough points to beat them. And in some cases, like I said, I don't trust Denver because I don't think Bo Nix could keep up with a Josh Allen if they had to match up with each other. So I like Buffalo. I like New England a lot too. My only concern with New England is, are they as legit as we think? Because they only got one win against a winning team this year. So, and that one win is the Buffalo win.
Yeah.
But in the rematch, Buffalo showed them down 21-0, came back. So Drake May, to me, has got to prove it. I can't give Drake May the benefit of the doubt over Josh Allen when we know what Josh Allen has done in the playoffs before.
Yep, I see that. So my LA, Will said LA.
He's talking Chargers, Rams.
In the suit. I don't even know why I put that comment on the screen. I love you, Will, but come on, you out of pocket. You know damn well Chargers ain't winning no Super Bowl or even going to one. Just stop it, okay? Let me see what else we got over here in these comments. Okay. Here we go. Will says thoughts on the Bengals crying about the game stoppage for Myles Garrett's celebration. They were crying about wanting to run hurry up in the meaningless game as far as W's and L's are concerned. Yeah, I mean, listen, man. Even though, it took him an extra game to break the record than my main man, Michael Strahan, when he did it. But, still, shout out to my guy, Myles Garrett. Congratulations. That's big time. Maybe, if not the best, arguably, one of the best defensive players in football right now. You got to love that. Sucks that, he accomplishes that on a bad Cleveland team. Because when you have something like that, you want your team to be in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Like nice little boost for your team. Yeah, which y'all should let this thing extend as long as it can, because y'all ain't paying no more football after this. So why not? You know what I'm saying? Give my main man, Myles Garrett his just due. Let him, what I'm saying? Get that celebration. If you didn't want the stoppage, then guess what? Your O-line should have did better blocking.
I don't understand what the Bengals are complaining about, because these are things that I discussed before the game, Trip. They let you know before the game, hey, we're going to stop if he breaks the record. You knew that already. So I don't know why they're surprised, as if like they weren't explained or told this ahead of time. Secondly, to Will's point, if you want to be mad about anything, Bengals, be mad about the games y'all blew earlier this year. Be mad about the fact that Joe Burrow's consistently hurt. Be mad about the fact that y'all don't have no defense. You mad about a Week 18 game against Cleveland, that means absolutely nothing. And oh, by the way, you lost this game too. So you mad about a stop for a celebration, but you're not mad about all the losses you had this year? Come on, man. Selective outrage.
Exactly. Imani says, did y'all see Rich Paul said something like people that buy Michael Jordans all didn't want to be like Mike? Don't know the full comments, but it's weird. It's like he in a smooth way throws shade at Jordan a lot on that show. Didn't last week we just came in here, y'all was talking about digging up Jordan. Now right. y'all too fickle for me, man. I get what he was, what he was trying to say with that. And because you guys have to remember where his start and what he was doing before he got with LeBron and whatnot. He was
in a sneaker game.
Yes, sneakers, jerseys, you know what I'm saying? So because of only like if I didn't know his history, then maybe I might feel like he was trying to, shade MJ a little bit. But that combined with the fact that I'm from New York, and there's a lot of cats we don't care about, and we definitely ain't trying to be like. But if they got a hot sneaker, or if they make clothes and the clothes is fire, we all about fashion in New York. So from that standpoint, I do get what he was trying to say, and especially for now, right? Everybody's still buying Jordans. There's still a highest paid sneaker right now, right? But none of my students that I've been teaching for the past 7 years, I have not heard any of my students who are wearing Jordans say they have Jordans because they want to be like Mike. So from that seminar, I do get it, because they all want to be Steph now. They want to be Braun,
right?
They want to be Kevin Durant. They want to be Kyrie. You want to be like what you see. Now, granted, when I was a kid, and Eric, it might be the same for you. When I had Jordans on, I wanted to, what I'm saying, get on the court and be like Jordan. This is a different generation. Michael Jordan has not played in the league in 25 years now. So, the past maybe 3-4 generations who weren't used to seeing Michael Jordan play, they're buying the sneakers because they want the sneakers. It's not about them trying to be Michael Jordan. So I do understand. I don't think he was trying to shade Mike. You know what I'm saying? And again, that and the fact that of where he came from before he became, the Rich Paul that we all know now. It was all about fashion, the sneakers, the jersey. So I don't think it was shade.
Whether it's shade or not, I mean, I think it really doesn't matter. I mean, nobody's taking a survey of, hey, did you buy that sneaker because you want to be like that guy? You may like the guy. I was a Knicks fan growing up. Like I said, I hated Mike as a competitor against the Knicks. So did I ever grow up, I want to be like Mike? No, I don't think I grew up saying I wanted to be like Mike, but I respected what Mike did. And I also understood that Mike was the best player in the game. And in my opinion, the greatest player to ever play the game. Yeah. But one has nothing to do with the other. That's like saying, oh, people, just because people go see Denzel movies, they don't think he's the greatest actor. So what? No. So what? You could support something without idolizing it or saying, "Oh, I want to be just like that." Yeah. So I don't think there's any relevance to what Rich Paul is saying.
Exactly. Steph only attempted 4.8 threes per game. Oh, this is the quintuple. Okay, yeah. You know what?
Cool.
And actually, it does make sense that eventually somebody would do better than Steph in that statistical category because of the fact that when Steph came into the league, it wasn't a thing. Like the way people shoot the three now wasn't a thing when Steph first came into the league. He turned it into that. So I could see a young guy coming in now and breaking that record.
But we could use that example at any point because the reason Steph surpassed Reggie and Ray Allen was because he was taking more threes than they were taking.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
that's the evolution of the game. Like you said, when Steph was averaging 5 threes a game as a rookie, that wasn't heard of.
Let's say that was a lot. So
right.
I definitely get that. Let me see. Hold on. Will said you didn't want to be Jordans because you wanted to be like, oh, you don't want to buy Jordans. You want to be like Mike. You wanted to be Fly. Hoopers wanted to be like Mike. No, I said when I was a kid, I wanted to be like Mike. And now the kids, they don't watch Mike play. So they don't want to be
right, but that's Will's point. You don't right. You wasn't buying them just because I want to be like Mike. No, I mean, shit, I'm a grown man that still buy Jordans. I don't want to be like Mike. Like I ain't been on the court, and I ain't been on the court in a few years. You know what I'm saying?
To go to Eric, you might still got a chance.
Yeah. Well, the way things is going in college basketball right now, I still got all my eligibility.
You ain't take a scholarship yet, right?
Yeah, nah. Matt, that's a good point. Let me reach out to some of these D3 schools and see if there's a little NIL money over there. Y'all might see me at Delaware State or something real soon. Getting a workout in.
I'm about to say, listen, my cousin, she used to be the assistant coach over at NYU. I could probably get you a tryout.
We're going to have to make the call off it.
I bet. I'll make something happen for you. You know you my bro, man. We got to make that happen. Let me see. Hold on. Will said, hear me out. New England ain't all that. On the Denver who we beat when we played. Is this more
just Chargers talk? It's more Chargers talk.
I'm sorry, Will. Stop it, okay? They are going to go home early, and this thing is going to be all over soon, all right? Will said,
I really think the player with the most to prove in this playoffs, I think, is Justin Herbert. Fairly or unfairly, Justin Herbert, from the time he's come into the league, has been kind of christened as like the new wave of great young quarterbacks.
Yeah.
He's 0-2 in the playoffs. I know his O-line is banged up, and this is why I told Will that matchup for them against New England is a tough matchup against New England. But if he's 0-3 as a starter, at some point, and I've said this before, at some point, we got to look at Justin Herbert and be like, yo, listen, you're underachieving right now. For as great as you are in the regular season, for as much things as you do in the regular season, you got to find a way to get a playoff win. So there's a lot of pressure. I know they're going to be underdogs in New England, but there's going to be a lot of pressure on Justin Herbert to get his first playoff win.
So I'm just trying to think how many quarterbacks playing this season don't have a playoff win. Starters.
That's a great question. Let me see.
Bo Nix, for sure.
Bo Nix in his second year, it doesn't have a playoff win.
Drake May. Justin Herbert, Caleb Williams.
Caleb in his second year.
Bryce
Young.
Damn, that's damn near
There's a lot of quarterbacks.
Yeah, there's a lot of quarterbacks that don't have a wow.
Yeah, but the difference is, again, like you said, right? So Drake May, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, they're second-year starters. Justin Herbert's been in the league now 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And remember, in the beginning, we were putting a lot of the blame on their head coach, Coach Staley, their previous coach. Yeah. Now you've had Harbaugh now. And last year, it's not just that they've lost. Remember, they had the historic collapse against the Jaguars in that wild card game. And they got blown out last year by the Texans in the first round. So these are ugly losses. It's not like, oh, he's losing on the last second field goal after he played a great game. You're talking about a collapse and then a blowout. So there's a lot of pressure on him to perform well in this game in New England.
Yeah. Let me go. Oh, that was actually, I didn't even notice that was actually the last comment. All right, well, listen, man, we might as well get to the final thought segment then. Since I was the last comment, Eric, give us a final thought, man.
As always, shout out to the supporters, man. We greatly appreciate you guys rocking with us every week. We're back this Wednesday, the Sanchez Show. Trip, let me know if you're able to join the live this Wednesday. 7:30.
Because I don't think we start Bible study back up until next week, so I don't have to run the stream. So I should be good for this week. Next week, as I'm gonna be cutting it close, I'll still try to get in where I fit in. But yeah, this week I should be good to go.
No worries, completely understand, man. But we back this Wednesday. Again, shout out to all the supporters. Hope everyone's new year is off to a great start. And lock in, man. Make sure you subscribe. You see it right across the bottom of the page. Real Fans, Real Talk, the Sanchez Show, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I just want to say, I'm just gonna say Happy New Year to everybody. Definitely thankful you guys, had a hell of a run with us in 2025, and you chose to start your year off right here with us on Monday night, and you're gonna be back with us again on Wednesday night. Shout out to everybody, that been hitting us up, especially my guy, Hoop Central. Shout out to Imani, who are always on the check-in. And once again, man, we're gonna end this show. The way we had our little halftime session in there, and I'm gonna play this song because I need one more.
Champ is here. Hey, this is my shit right here.
Champ is here.
This shit is crazy.
Champ is here. Now, with that being said, though, make sure you guys are following us on all our social media: Instagram, Twitter @RealFanTalk, Facebook.com/RealFansRealTalk. And subscribe to that YouTube channel, YouTube.com/ForTheFansProductions. And if you're not in the New York City area, you can't watch us on Thursday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. on Verizon 43. Don't worry, you can watch from anywhere in the world. All you got to do is go to that website, www.realfansrealtalk.com, and click that red button right on the homepage. Oh, make sure y'all subscribe to the two best podcasts moving. That's the Sanchez Show podcast and the Real Fans Real Talk podcast. And lock in with us because we still got some parlays we got to do. This thing ain't over.
Just getting started.
For myself, Trip Young, and my brother, my co-host, Eric Sanchez, aka Legend of Two Games. We up out of here. Peace.
This is Deion Grant from the New York Giants, Super Bowl champ, and you're watching Real Fans Real Talk.
Live from the can.
This is Real Fans Real Talk. Real Fans Real Talk. We as real as you thought.